All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everyone joining me on this program. This is the Fountain of Israel's Bible Studies program, and as always, it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's holy Sabbath day. Guys, welcome back, welcome back. But before we get started, let me remind you to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and please don't forget to smash that notification bell because I don't want you to miss any of our lessons. And if you feel so inclined to donate, check the description box down below. Now that that's out of the way, we're going to go ahead and jump into our lesson. And our lesson is all about judgment. It's all about judgment today, guys. And one of the reasons why I wanted to tackle this is because I'm sure you guys have heard the age-old trope of, don't judge me, lest they be judged. Who are you to judge? Don't judge me, don't judge each other, things like that. And it's a bit of a misnomer. So we're going to go ahead and tackle that. Does the Bible really mean not to judge each other, at all? Or is it more of judge righteously? Because that's what this is all about. Sometimes we have to realize that it's about judging each other righteously. Now, as far as judging and ruling over one another, that is different. That is when you are in a congregation, when you are in a assembly, when you submit yourselves one to another. That way you can keep each other in line. That way iron can sharpen iron. That way you can be your brother's keeper. It doesn't mean just judging the people that are without. That means they are not a part of this faith. You already know they don't follow the Most High. You already know that. But those who submit themselves to the Most High and say that they follow him, then that's a little bit different. But going outside your purview, it does not serve any of us at all. Okay, so it's not a matter of trying to go seek out people to call out. Okay. And besides that, we all need to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling. But judgment is a part of the process. But we're going to look at it real quick. We're going to look at it from the scriptures version. So when I read these scriptures, it may sound a little bit different if you don't have the scriptures version. Normally we do from the King James, but we're going to read it from the scriptures version. So first we're going to go to Luke. We're going to go to Luke. We're in Luke. We're going to go to Luke chapter 6. Luke chapter 6. Join me there now, if you will. And when we get to Luke chapter 6, we're going to start reading at verse 37. We want verse 37 to 42. So verse 37 reads, "And do not judge, and you will not be judged at all. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned at all. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Give, and it shall be given to you. A good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over, shall be put into your lap. For with the same measure with which you measure, it shall be measured back to you." That's the key thing we have to remember. "And he spoke a parable, a parable to them. Is a blind able to lead a blind? Shall they not both fall into a pit? A taught one is not above his teacher, but everyone perfected shall be like his teacher. And why do you see the splinter in your brother's eye, but are not aware of the plank in your own eye?" Now watch what he says next, guys. "Or how are you able to say to your brother, 'Brother, let me take out the splinter that is in your eye,' not seeing the plank in your own eye? Hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you shall see clearly to take out the splinter that is in your brother's eye." So first, make sure you're straight. Doesn't mean that you're perfect. Doesn't mean you get everything right. But in the area that you are about to correct someone in, make sure that you have that under control. Make sure you have some level of mastery under control about that. So you're trying to help a brother. "Oh, you should not steal, brother," but yet you're stealing. See, that's just a small example, but that's what we're talking about. That's what it means. It doesn't mean, oh, you're perfect, you got everything perfect, and there you have no wrong, there's no flaw in you. Obviously, we all have some issues, but there's certain areas that we need to be mature in. We need to be better at. That's not to say that if I steal, I don't, but if I steal and I tell someone else not to steal, it doesn't mean that that's not right. However, it doesn't have a whole lot of credibility behind it. Because the people will consider the source, particularly if you're a known thief. I understand, but that's how humans work. That's how humans work. So if you're doing it, hey, they're gonna look at you and be like, who are you to tell me? Look at your life. Look at what you're doing. That kind of thing. So you got to have that area cleaned up. Now, if you say, well, I did that in the past, or I did that before, or that's my old life, and I'm telling you that's the wrong thing to do. That's the wrong path. That's much better. But if it's something you're currently practicing, that's going to be an issue. It's going to hurt your testimony and in your judgment. So the Messiah says, get the plank out of your eye before you worry about your brother's splinter. But he didn't say don't worry about your brother's splinter. That's the part that I really want you to pick up on. So don't worry about it, but just clean your act up and then go handle that, right? So let's continue. We're going to go ahead and go to the Old Testament. Let's go to the Tanakh. Okay, let's go to the Tanakh, and we want to go to Shemot, or Exodus 18. Exodus 18, Shemot 18. And we're going to start over in chapter 13, verse 13, I'm sorry. Chapter 18, verse 13. Verse 13 says this. And it came to be on the next day that Moshe sat to rightly rule the people, where it may say judge. Okay, so that's another thing we have to understand. Judge, rule was interchangeable in some of these places here. So you're going to see rule a lot. And if you look at your Strongs, you're going to see in that place of judge, you're going to see one of the first definitions that actually says rule, meaning to judge, right? So I want you guys to look at that. And so this whole idea of, don't judge me. Who are you to judge? You can't judge. No. We, the brethren, can judge the brethren. It can be done. Okay? And it came to be on the next day that Moshe sat to rightly rule the people. And the people stood before Moshe from morning until evening. And when the father-in-law of Moshe saw all that he did for the people, he said, what is that you are doing for the people? Why do you sit by yourself and all the people stand before you from morning until evening? So he is giving judgment and ruling over them. He's giving judgment all day, settling matters all day. Just him, just Moshe. Right? And Moshe said to his father-in-law, because the people come to me to seek Elohim. And when they have a matter, they come to me, and I rightly rule. I judge between one and another, right? I rule between one and another. I judge between one another and make known the laws of Elohim and his Torah. And the father-in-law of Moshe said to him, what you are doing is not good. Both you and these people with you shall certainly wear yourselves out, for the matter is too heavy for you. You are not able to do it by yourself. He's saying this is too much for you, Moshe. This is a bit much. This is a big task. There's a whole lot of us, and people from morning to night, every single day. Can you imagine, brothers and sisters? Can you imagine? He says he's trying to help them, actually. Let's continue. 19. Now listen to my voice and let me counsel you, and Elohim be with you. All right. He said, let me give you a little bit of advice. Stand before Elohim for the people, and you shall bring the matters to Elohim. And you shall enlighten them concerning the laws of Torah, and show them the way in which they should walk and the work which they do. But you yourself seek out from all the people able men who fear Elohim, men of truth, hating unfair gain, and place these over them to be rulers of thousands, like judges, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s, right? So this is how you use an example of setting up your government, set up this hierarchy, right? Those who can handle it, some of you are going to be able to counsel and deal with 10. Some of you may do 50 or 100 or 1,000, okay? It just depends, right? Depends on what you can handle. 22. And they shall rightly rule or judge the people at all times, and shall be that they bring every great matter to you, but they themselves rightly rule every small matter. So make it lighter for yourself, for they shall bear with you, right? So they're going to deal with some of these little, small little arguments, differences, doctrinal differences or whatever. The small ones, you can appoint some elders. You can appoint some judges. Okay? You can appoint some people to help you, to unburden you. Okay? They're going to bear it with you. If you do this word, and Elohim shall command you, then you shall be able to stand, and all this people also go to their place in peace. And Moshe listened to the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he said. And Moshe chose able men out of all Israel and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10. And they rightly ruled the people at all times. The hard matters they brought to Moshe, but they rightly ruled every small matter themselves. They rightly ruled every small matter themselves. Or, if you're in your King James, judge. They judged. They judged. They judged. So it's nothing wrong with people who are submitting one to another, or someone who may come to me and say, hey, what do you think about this biblical matter or whatever? Or people come and call, they email, or some people have my text and they'll ask the question. They get, it's very personal, or their family, their issues and stuff like that. Lay it before me and say, what do you think? And we go to the scriptures. Okay? That's a judgment. That's a judgment. See, some people conflate judgment with condemnation. And that doesn't have to be so. That doesn't have to be so. Sometimes that happens, but is that what judgment is? Every single time it's just judging matters. What's right, what's wrong, what thus says the Lord. What does the scripture say? And then, of course, sometimes we have to incorporate some common sense, right? So, Exodus or Shemot 21. Now, we're going to go to 21. We're going to start at 22, and we'll read 22 to 25. 21. But if he remains alive a day or two, he is not punished, for he is his property. And when men strive, and they shall smite a pregnant woman, and her children come out, yet there is no injury, he shall certainly be punished accordingly as the woman's husband lays upon him, and he shall give through the what? Judges. But if there is injury, then you shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, lash for lash. And when a man strikes the eye of his male or female servant and destroys it, he is to let him go free for the sake of his eye. Okay? So, again, you have to judge. See, these are all judging. This is judging a matter. Determining what's right and what is wrong. That's basically what it is. But people have this condemnation every single time. That's the first time at the first mention of judgment, or if someone just feels judged, or they feel shame, or they feel guilt, their all too familiar refrain is, don't judge me. Who are you to judge me? The Bible says, thou shalt not judge, lest you be judged. It's like, how are you going to judge? What measure are you going to judge? Are you going to judge rightly? Are we talking about a right ruling? People get it confused and act like it's just, just a blanket condemnation. But no, it's not like that. We're talking about right ruling. But let's go to Dabarim or Deuteronomy. We're going to go to the first chapter, actually. So Deuteronomy 1. We're just going to read one verse. Verse 16. Which reads, and I commanded your judges at that time, saying, when hearing between your brothers, judge righteously between a man and his brother, or the stranger who is with him. I'll read that again. And I command your judges at that time, saying, when hearing between your brothers, judge righteously between a man and his brother or a stranger who is with him. Judge righteously. Deuteronomy 16. We're going to read 18 and 19. Judge righteously. Not judge, not at all. It's not saying that. Don't judge at all. Don't do that. No, it's not saying that. So we're at Deuteronomy 16 or Deuteronomy 16, 18. We're going to read 18 and 19. 18 says this: appoint judges and officers within all your gates, which Yah, your Elohim, is giving you according to your tribes, and they shall judge the people with righteous right ruling. They shall judge with righteous right ruling. Do not distort right ruling or judgment. Do not show partiality nor take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eye of the wise and twists the words of the righteous, right? So we get a whole lot of, corruption today because of, money, or because someone's status or influence or something like that. Someone pulling strings to get judgment and stuff like that. But according to the Most High, according to Elohim, you don't do that. Just judge right. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter someone's status. Doesn't matter how much money someone has. Doesn't matter what position that they have. Doesn't matter what someone looks like. None of that matters. None of that matters. Judge righteously. None of that other stuff matters. Okay? So we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna go on over to Shemuel or 1 Samuel, and we're going to go to chapter 7. Chapter 7. Okay. And when we go to chapter 7, we're going to read 15 through 17. Okay. Shemuel Aleph or 1 Samuel. And we are going to start 15 through 17. 15 says this: and Shemuel rightly ruled Israel all the days of his life. And each year he made the rounds of Beth El and Gilgal and Mishpah, and rightly ruled or judged Israel in all those places. Rightly ruled or judged in all those places. Then he returned to Ramah, for his home was there. And there he rightly ruled or judged Israel. And there he built a slaughterhouse, okay, to Yah. Okay? Judged, rightly ruled. See, we have this idea, we get this idea or this wrong idea of what judge is, or judgment, or judging. This judging is par for the course. Judging is par for the course, and I feel bad that many of us was taught by some Reverend Dr. Bishop, Pastor Priest, some butter muffin out there, teaching us the wrong, giving us the wrong impression, giving us the wrong idea. So I will caution all my brothers and sisters not to follow some Timu Hebrew out there giving you the wrong idea of what judgment actually is. We're going to let the context. Okay, that's why I want to give you we're going to give you the context. What do we mean? What do you mean by that? Judging is making a call, settling a dispute, settling a matter. Going to Elohim, going to the scriptures, settling the matter. Come, let us reason together. Let's continue, brothers and sisters. We're going to go to the New Testament for a second. Let's go to Matthew 7. Or Matthew 7. And we're going to read the first 6 verses. Matthew 7, we'll read the first 6 verses. And it says what? Do not judge, lest ye be judged. For with what judgment you judge. Right there. How are you doing it? How are you making your decision? For with what judgment you judge. I like that part right there. You shall be judged, right? So it says, again, let's start back at 1. Do not judge lest you be judged, for with what judgment you judge, you shall be judged. And with the same measure you use, it shall be measured to you. And why do you look at a splinter in your brother's eye, but do not notice the plank in your own eye? Or how is it that you say to your brother, let me remove the splinter out of your eye, and see a plank in your own eye, right? Same story back from Luke, right? Hypocrite, first remove the plank from your own eye, and then ye shall see clearly to remove the splinter out of your brother's eye. Do not give what is set apart to the dogs. Okay, I think it's till 5, no 6. And nor throw your pearls before the pigs, unless they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you in pieces, right? So I didn't really need that part, but he didn't, like same thing in Luke. He didn't say not to judge, but get your stuff together. Get your stuff together. Get your act together. Right? Get this thing right. Then remove the splinter from your brother's eye. Then correct him. Make sure that you're on solid ground. Then correct him. All right? Going to keep going. Let's go on over to Tehillim, or Psalms. And we're going to go to, chapter 2. Early on. Go to chapter 2 in Psalms and verse 10. Chapter 2 in Psalms and verse 10, which reads, and now be wise, O sovereigns, be instructed, you rulers of the earth, you judges of the earth. See, ruler and judge can be intertwined. It can be kind of interchanged, right? And now be wise, O sovereigns, and be instructed, you rulers of the earth. Same book. Let's go up to chapter 10 in Tehillim, or Psalms. Chapter 10 in Psalms. And we're going to read verse 18, actually, when we get there. Which reads, to defend the fatherless and the downtrodden, so that man who is of the earth no longer possesses. Hold on right here. 10 and 18. Psalms, I'm in 10, 18. That is to defend the father. There we go. So, to defend the fatherless and the downtrodden, so that no man is of the earth no longer oppresses. Okay? Then we're going to also go back to, we're going to go up to Proverbs, actually. Mishlei. Let's go up to Proverbs, and we're going to go to Proverbs, actually 31. And we're going to read one verse, 31 and 9. And what does it say? Open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. I like that right there. Open your mouth and judge righteously. So that tells you this is part this judgment when we go along with this Torah and in the Tanakh and in the New Testament, it's all a part of it. It's all a part of it. Concomitant. It goes right along with it. It goes right along with it. So this is not something where, oh no, you're not supposed to be. No. That's part of it. That's part of it. I submit myself to elders. Guess what? They're free to judge and say, Moray Reed, Brother Robert, hey, you probably shouldn't do X, Y, Z. That's judgment. That counsel, that advice, that's judgment. That's what it is. That's how that goes. Let's keep it going. We're going to go to Mattiyahu. Let's go back to the New Testament. Let's go to Matthew. we're going to go to chapter 7. And when we go to chapter 7, we're going to start at verse 15. And we're going to go from 15 to 20. And he says, 15, it says, "But beware of the false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are savage wolves. By their fruits you shall know them." That's how you judge. "Are grapes gathered with thorn bushes, or figs from thistles? So every good tree yields good fruit, but a rotten tree yields wicked fruit. A good tree is unable to yield wicked fruit, and a rotten tree to yield good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. So then, by their fruits you shall know them." He's telling you exactly how to judge. He's basically telling you, judge someone by their actions. Judge someone by what they do. So much for that, "Oh, thou shalt not judge," and just leave it at that. You need context with that. It's fine to judge. Just remember, you will be judged in like manner. The same way. If you're judged harshly, unfairly, then that's how you'll be judged. If you're judged compassionately, a little more lenient on then that's how you'll be judged. Okay? And I'm not talking about Torah. I'm not talking about that. Okay? we're just talking about judgment in general. This is how we settle these matters. Judgment is not bad. Judgment is correction. Judgment is getting us back on track. More on that later. Let's keep it going. Let's go back to Zechariah. Zechariah. And Zechariah, we're going to go to chapter 3 actually. Chapter 3. We'll read the first 7 verses. "And he showed me Yehoshua, the high priest, standing before the messenger of Yah, and Satan standing at his right hand to be an adversary to him. And Yah said to Satan, Yah rebuke you, Satan. Yah, who has chosen Yerushalayim, rebuke you. Is this not a brand plucked from the fire? And Yehoshua was dressed in filthy garments and was standing before the messenger. And he answered and spoke to those who stood before him, saying, remove the filthy garments from him. And to him he said, see, I have removed your guilt from you, and shall put costly robes on you. And I said, let them put a clean turban on his head. Then they put a clean turban on his head, and they put garments on him. And the messenger of Yah stood by. And the messenger of Yah witnessed to Yehoshua, saying, thus said Yah of hosts, if you walk in my ways, and if you guard my duty, then ye shall also rule or judge my house, and also guard my courts. And I shall give you access among these standing here. Look at. See, this is a picture. Now, this is learning something on the way to learning something. See, he's giving you an idea. First of all, he's giving him the responsibility of judging and ruling. That's what it means. And then he's giving a picture of what it will be for us, what it will be like for us to take off our filthy rags, our sin. Because our righteousness is a filthy rags, as the prophet would say, right? So our righteousness is a filthy rags. He tells you to take off those filthy rags and put on clean garments, sinless garments. Put that on. And put a turban or a mitre on your head. Then now you're free to judge. Clean up your act. Clean yourself up first. That's what it's going to be like in the next life. That's what it's going to be like at the resurrection, after the second coming, after after those of us come out of the graves, or those will be changed that are alive and remain. Giving us an idea. The power and the responsibility to judge the nations. So do not fall for this idea, this false idea, I might add, that, oh, we're not supposed to judge. True. Not true. We are. This is just the test run right now. This is the dress rehearsal. See, right now, we can judge. Guess what? Some people listen, some people won't. But when thy kingdom come, you're going to listen, or there's going to be some strict, swift, severe consequences. We're going to be able to approach someone in the kingdom and say, hey, yeah, you're supposed to be coming over here to this feast. Oh, now I'm going to skip it. Wrong answer. You got to come on up to Jerusalem. You got to come on up to the mountain of the Lord, and we have to, do this feast day real quick. There's only one right response. I'm on my way. Here we go. I know all your flabbers are gasted at this point. Right now, take it or leave it, right? Take it or leave it. But then, no. It does not work that way. Go with me to 1 Kings. Go with me to 1 Kings. And when we go to 1 Kings, we're going to go to chapter 3, if you will. 1 Kings chapter 3. And we'll start reading at verse 16. 1 Kings chapter 3, we'll start reading at verse 16. through 28. 16 reads this way. Then two women, whores, came to the sovereign and stood before him. And one woman said, "O my master, this woman and I dwell in the same house, and I gave birth while she was in the house. And it came to be the third day after I had given birth that this woman also gave birth. And we were together. And there was no one else with us in the house, only the two of us in the house. Then this woman's son died in the night because she laid on him. And she rose up in the middle of the night and took my son from my side while your female servant slept, and laid him in her bosom, and lay her dead child in my bosom. And I rose up in the morning to nurse my son and saw he was dead. But I looked at him closely in the morning and I saw he was not my son whom I had born." And the other woman said, "No, but the living one is my son and the dead one is your son." And the first woman said, "No, for the dead one is your son and the living one is my son." And they spoke before the sovereign. We're talking about Shlomo or Solomon, right? And the sovereign said, the one says, "This is my son who lives, and your son is the dead one," while the other says, "No, for your son is the dead one, and my son is the living one." And the sovereign said, "Bring me a sword." So they brought a sword before the sovereign, and the sovereign said, "Divide the living child in two, and give half to one and the half to the other." And the woman whose son was living spoke to the sovereign, for she was overcome with compassion for her son. And she said, "O my master, give her the living child, and by no means kill him." But the other said, "Let him be neither mine nor yours, but divide him." And the sovereign answered and said, "Give the first woman the living child, and by no means kill him. She is his mother." And all of Israel heard of the right ruling, the judgment, the right ruling which the sovereign had rendered. And they feared the sovereign, for they saw that the wisdom of Elohim was in him to do right ruling, to do judgment. Now, you guys heard this story before. This is, not a shocker story. You guys knew what happened, but yeah, he saw. He saw that the real mother loved her child so much. Rather than to see her child die, she said, fine, just don't hurt the baby. Give the baby to her. Just so their child is not hurt. And so that's easy for you to figure out. But that is no less wisdom. There's no less wise. Okay, this is a couple thousand years ago. Okay, so it's no less wise. And then you look at the wicked woman is like, nah, don't let it be either. Now this is supposed to be, you said this is yours. Why would you, and you rewarded the child. So why would you want it to still die? Oh, don't let it be mine or hers. No, go ahead and kill the child. Haters gotta hate. We're gonna keep it going. But he did a right ruling. He judged the situation, right? So let's go to Yohanan or John. Okay, let's go to John. And we're just going to go and read one verse actually. So we're just going to go to John real quick. Or Yohanan chapter 7 and 24. 7 and then verse 24. Do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. Don't judge according to appearance, but judge righteous judgment. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, and that's it. It doesn't matter. None of that other stuff even matters. What upsets people so much in pretty much any society is unfair judgment. It's an atrocity. It's an affront to justice. It's unconscionable, yet it happens. And people are passionate about it. They're just like, it's not right. That's how important judgment is. We have a justice system here. No, it's not perfect. It's far from that. But there's really not much a perfect justice system really anywhere on the planet, not until Yeshua returns. Not until he sets up his government, some ruling 10, some ruling 50, some ruling 100, some ruling 1,000, so on and so forth. Not until he sets up his 24 elders. Not until he sets up his 144,000. Not until he sets up his 12 sitting on 12 thrones judging all of Israel. Not until. Not until he raised up David again. Then we will have perfect judgment. Right now, dress rehearsal. Right now, we're figuring it out. Right now, we do the best we can. Right now, we try to handle the small matters. Let's go to Romans or Ramayim. Let's go to Romans or Ramayim. And when we get to Romans, we just want chapter 2. And when we go to chapter 2, we're going to read the first 3 verses. Therefore, O man, you are without excuse, everyone who judges. For in which you judge another, you condemn yourself, since you who judge practice the same wrongs, because you do the same things. You see? You're doing the same things. And what he says, and we know that the judgment of Elohim is according to the truth against those who practice such wrongs, right? And do you think, oh man, you who judge those practicing such wrongs and doing the same, that you shall escape the judgment of Elohim? This is why you got to get that plank out of your eye first before you worry about somebody else's splinter. Let me read 3 again. And do you think, oh man, you who judge those practicing such wrongs and doing the same, that ye shall escape the judgment of Elohim? Or do you despise the riches of his kindness and tolerance and patience, not knowing that the kindness of Elohim leads you to repentance? Right? You don't get that? But according to your hardness and your unrepentant heart, you are treasuring up for yourself wrath in the day of wrath and revelation of the righteous judgment of Elohim, who shall render to each one according to his works. Okay, you find that in Psalms. Everlasting life to those who are persistent in good works, seek for esteem and respect in incorruptibility. It's okay to judge, just get your act together. Just clean up your act. Don't be guilty of the exact same thing you're trying to judge somebody or correct someone on. Let's go to chapter 14 of Rami. Rami 14. When we get there, we will start at verse 3. 14, we're going to read 3 through 13, which read, he that eats, let him not despise him who does not eat. And he that does not eat, let him not judge him who eats, for Elohim received him. Now this has nothing to do with unclean. Okay, it's a nut. You get a lot of false prophets, and they try to use this so that you can eat anything. I digress, guys. This has nothing to do with unclean food. Let's continue. He that eats, let him not despise him who does not eat, and he that does not eat, let him not judge him who eats, for Elohim received him. Who are you that judges another's servant? To his own master he stands or falls. I mean, that's up to his master basically. But he shall be made to stand, for Elohim is able to make him stand. One indeed judges one day above another. Another judges every day alike. Let each one be completely persuaded in his own mind, right? So if he's not convicted on something, then hey, let it go. He who minds the day minds it to Yah, and he who does not mind the day to Yah, he does not mind it. He who eats to Yah, for he gives Elohim thanks, and he who does not eat to Yah, he does not eat and gives Elohim thanks, right? So it doesn't matter, okay, either way. For not one of us lives to himself, and not one dies to himself. For both, if we live unto the master. And if we die unto the master. Therefore, whether we live or die, we are the masters. For unto this Messiah died and rose and lived again and ruled over both the dead and the living. But why do you judge your brother, or why do you despise your brother? For we shall all stand before the judgment seat of Messiah. For it has been written, as I live, says Yah, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to Elohim. Each one of us, therefore, shall give account of himself to Elohim. And therefore, let us not judge one another any longer, but rather judge this, not to put an obstacle or a stumbling block in our brother's way. See, a lot of people, they try to get, especially a lot of these Timu Hebrews out here, try to get you caught up in just caught up in sin. Try to trap you in it. Try to get you in it, right? I had a brother, he called me up it was years ago. He called me up, and it was a whole thing about, the true name of God and all this other stuff. And I'm like, at the time I was telling him, I was like, well, there's much debate on how to really, how it really goes. Okay. You got some people actually do understand Hebrew. Some people pretend to be Hebrew. They have this great value Hebrew, and they think, then some of you have this made up Hebrew. Okay. And I said, how do we know that they're saying it correctly, right? And if it's so clear, if it's so easy and everything, then how come there's not much consensus on it, right? So there should be some agreement. And so he was just like, no, brother, no, it's a sin. That's taking his name in vain. Yeah, we know that's not what it means, but that's just taking his name in vain. You don't want to take his name in vain. I said, but you said I don't know the true name of God. So how can I take a name that I don't know? You said I don't know it. How can I take it in vain and I don't even know what it is? You said I'm not saying his true name. He said, well, it's what did he say? I think he was saying it's another variation. He said it was Yehovah. It's not Yehoshua, none of that, not Yeshua, none of that. It was God. He said one of the, man. It's actually one I hadn't heard a lot before. But at any rate, he said it, and if I remember it, I'll put it in the comment section. But anyway, he said the name. Okay, he said, oh, it's ABC, yabba dabba do. That's the name. Okay, now don't use it in vain. I'm like, no. That's not how that works. So now he wants me, and he said, now that you know, don't use it in vain. Now that you know. I'm like, okay, so why'd you tell me? You know what I'm saying? But he only told me because he was trying to manipulate the whole situation. Now he's getting me caught up. He wants to put a stumbling block in front of me now, if that was the case. Okay, and I didn't want to make this a debate on what the name is and all that. I understand that when the disciples uttered their words and uttered the Messiah's name, they did not say Jesus. I'm aware of that. I know that. I know. Yao. That's what the thing he said. He said Yao, something like that. It was like Y-A apostrophe O-H. That's what he said. It's Yao. So I was like, okay. But it's just weird. It's just weird. Just putting a stumbling block in front of your brother or whatever. Because if you think about it, if they don't really have it, then they can't take it in vain. And we know that's not what taking it in vain means. But, I'll humor them for a second. You guys, be careful. Be careful, because there's a lot of butter muffins out there that will get you caught up. And I don't want that to happen to any of you guys. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. Okay. 1 Corinthians. Let's see where we at here. John, Acts, Romans, and then probably Corinthians right after that. So when we go to 1 Corinthians, I want to go to chapter 5. So 1 Corinthians, we're going to go chapter 5, and we're going to look at 3 through 13. Okay. Verse 3 says this. For I indeed, as absent in the body but present in spirit, have already what? Judged the one who did this, as though I were present. And in the name of our Master, Yeshua, Messiah, when you are gathered together, and my spirit, with the power of our Master, Yeshua, Messiah, delivers such a one to Satan for destruction of the flesh, in order that his spirit be saved in the day of the Master, Yeshua. Your boasting is not good. Do you not know that a little leaven leavens the entire lump? Therefore, cleanse out the old leaven, so that you are a new lump, as you are unleavened. For also Messiah, our Pasha, was slaughtered for us. So then, let us celebrate the festival, not with old leaven, nor with the leaven of evil and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. I write to you in my letter not to keep company with those who whore. I certainly did not mean with those of this world who whore, or with the greedy of gain, or swindlers, or idolaters, since then you would need to go out of the world. But now I have written to you not to keep company with anyone called a brother, if he is one who whores, or greedy of gain, or idolater, or reviler, or a drunkard, or a swindler, not even to eat with such a one. For what have I to do with judging outsiders, right? Do you not judge those who are inside? But Elohim judges those who are outside and put away the wicked one from among you. So, you see, what did I say at the top of the lesson? I said, we do judge, but it's not about going out to somewhere who's not within, who's not your brethren, who's not a part of the assembly, who's not a part of the same faith. When we don't submit ourselves one to another, we don't do that. If someone basically, if other people, they have nothing to do with you, you can't go and judge them. You got to leave that to the Most High. You can't do that. It's just too many people walk around self-righteous. Too many people walking around because they know they memorize a few scriptures and they walk around and they want to point fingers. Hey, you're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. You can't even breathe. You can be walking your dog and somebody's going to pop out of the bushes and say, hey, hide. You can't do this. There's a bunch of Tanakh Karens out there running around. You can't do that. It's those, we're together, we're in one community. That's how we govern ourselves. We judge ourselves. We rule ourselves. Using the scriptures, using the Ruach HaKodesh. Using the Messiah, using Elohim, elders. That's how we do it. We use the Moreh, we use the pastor, we use our leaders. That's how we do it. We don't judge randoms. And then we don't keep company with the wicked ones. We just can't just hang out. We can't hang out with them. You play in the mud, you're gonna get dirty. He said, we're definitely gonna go out to the world. You gotta go out to the world. You gotta go work. People on the job don't have the same faith that you have. You can't judge them. You're gonna waste your time. They don't serve the God that you serve. But that doesn't mean you never judge. Sometimes you gotta make a judgment just to stay away from them. You gotta make a judgment just to write them off. Like, okay, this is a lost cause. I don't want to have anything to do with this person. That's a judgment too. Let's keep it going. Let's go to chapter 11. 1 Corinthian Aleph. Chapter 11, we're going to read 26 to 32. 26 says this: For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the death of the master until he comes. So that whoever should eat this bread or drink this cup of the master unworthily shall be guilty of the body and the blood of the master. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of the bread and drink of the cup. For the one who is eating and drinking unworthily eats and drinks judgment to himself, not discerning the body of the master. Because of this, many are weak and sick among you, and many sleep. For if we were to examine ourselves, we would not be judged. But when we are judged, we are disciplined by the master, that we should not be condemned with the world. When we take that accountability, guys. When we take a look, when we say, you know what? When we, like the prophets, we see how bad we are and we become undone. When our righteousness is of filthy rags, and when we straight up say to the Messiah, I was wrong, I messed up, I sinned, I transgressed against you. Don't try to butter it up, don't try to clean it up, don't try to soft sell it or anything like that. I messed up. I sinned against you. I broke Torah. Then we're not condemned. We're taking ownership of it. And then, of course, we beg for the mercy. We deserve the condemnation, but we pray for the mercy. We pray for the forgiveness. And we repent. The judgment, it's not all bad. It gets us back on track. Let's go to our last couple of places here. Let's go to Yaakov or James. Let's go to James 4:12. Yaakov 4:12, which says, there is one lawgiver and judge who is able to save and to destroy. Who are you to judge another? Who are you to judge another? Now this was like condemnation, right? This is like condemnation. Who are you to make that, cast that last final? But sometimes that judgment, you could be saving your brother or sister. You could be saving them from what's to come. See, some people, they try to judge to save, to do a good thing. Some of them do it to gloat because they have ego. And they, you going to the lake of fire. Whew, bon voyage. And that's exactly what they want, right? No, they should want to save you from the lake. The job is to save you from the lake, not send you to the lake. And cheer someone on going there. Lest they forget, sometimes misery loves company. Let's keep it going. You can go to 1 John. Yohanan Aleph. All right, we got, here we go. So we got 1 John, and I want chapter 2. We're going to read 18 through 20. 18 says this: little children, it is the last hour, and as ye have heard that the anti-Messiah is coming, even now many anti-messiahs have come, and this is how we know that it is the last hour. Judging it, right? They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have stayed with us. But in order that it might be made manifest that none of them were of us. Right? So you can see that it's evident, right? He's showing that it's evident. And you have an anointing from the set apart one, and you know all. This is how you can judge, right? This is how you judge. This is how you figure it out. Just giving you an idea. This is how you judge. This is how you can figure out. This is how you can tell. That's judgment. We're going to go back to 1 Corinthians. And when we get to 1 Corinthians, this is our last place. We'll go to chapter 6, and we're going to read the first 7 verses. Shall any of you, holding a matter against another, go to be judged before the unrighteous and not before the set apart ones? Like, why would you go to the unrighteous to judge a matter between two people who purportedly supposed to be righteous or brother or in the same faith, right? Do you not know that the set apart ones shall judge the world? I thought we're not supposed to judge, right? Shall judge the world. And if the world is judged by you, you're in there, right? Are you unworthy to judge the smallest matter? Can you not handle some of the smallest matter? We will judge the world. Do you not know that we shall judge messengers or angels? And how much more matters of this life? If then you truly have judgments of this life, do you appoint them as judges who are least esteemed by the assembly? People who understand Torah. Look at the instruction of Moshe's father-in-law, right? Look at the instruction that he gave him, right? People who are worthy. I say this to your shame. It is so that there is not a wise one among you, not even one, who shall be able to judge between his brothers. Like one can't figure out how to judge some things. But brother against brother goes to be judged, and that before unbelievers. Already then, there is a failure with you, that you have lawsuits among you. Why not rather be wronged? Why not rather be cheated? Like, this is wrong. He said, man, y'all can't get it together. Y'all can't get it together. Y'all handling it all wrong. You can't find one guy who understands right ruling. One person who understands judgment. You already messed up. Basically what Shaul or Paul is saying. So brothers and sisters, this whole idea of we can't judge one another is a misnomer. Don't listen to it. It's poppycock. We do judge. We're expected to judge. It's just got to be done righteously. It's got to be right ruling. It's got to be within, not without. Not with just random people. Now, before we get on out of here, let me remind you to like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And please, don't hesitate to smash that notification bell, because I don't want you to miss any of our lessons. And if you feel so inclined to donate, check the description box down below. But until next time, search the scriptures. Improve all things. Shalom, Israel.